Check, check, check. Here we go. Man, y'all give a round of applause for my man back there doing that. Come on. That's a great applause. Wow, we got to work him. We got to work him. All right, so for those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Philip. I'm the college pastor here. I want y'all to know we're super glad that you guys are here. Man, y'all only got like a month and a half left in school, right? Any y'all excited about that? Any y'all? Or any y'all like me, like 2 months out, I was already coasting. I literally didn't do any schoolwork. Anybody out there like that? You know what I'm saying? You feel me on that? That's exactly. I think it was almost the whole year. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I never really did much. Anyways, so with all that being said, we're in a series called Measure Up. And I hope that you guys have been enjoying the series called Measure Up. And week one, for those of you guys who weren't here week one, Duke, he talked about that if you're always trying to measure up, it only brings you down. You're always trying to measure up. It only brings you down. And then last week, Riley, she talked about how to take your cue from the one who made you. See, here's the deal. You have to understand who God is, who he made you to be, and who he says you are for you to really have your identity secure, and that will help dictate the decisions that you make in your life. Now, tonight, we're going to be talking about how what you do with what you have matters most. What you do with what you have matters most. So when I was in high school, I was so worried about being with the in crowd. You know, like the group of friends that I hung around were more of like the popular crowd, but in the same sense, I look back on my life now, and I had to work so hard to make sure that I was in the crowd doing what they were doing to try to be more of one of the popular guys. So I look at that, I'm like, man, I spent so much energy, so much time, so many of the opportunities that I look back in high school of making sure that I was with the popular group, that I was with the in crowd, doing what they were doing, talking the way they were talking, dressing the way they were dressing. I felt like I had to do all those things to make sure that I was staying involved with them, and really just to be accepted with that group. So here's the thing. For me, I always dreamed of going and playing college basketball. I always was like, man, I want to go play college basketball. And I felt like I had a little bit of talent to be able to go and do that. But here's the thing. I never worked hard in school. I literally didn't do anything. Literally almost didn't do anything, okay? I don't even know how I graduated high school. And so anyway, I barely did any schoolwork. And then on top of that, all I ever did, I was like the punk, like on the basketball team, and I was always just like giving the coach a hard time, and he never really liked me. We didn't really jive too well. And so my thing was, I was so worried about what everybody thought about me that therefore I didn't work hard in school. Because why would you want to work hard in school? Because for me, I was always worried about the next party. I was worried about the next high. I was worried about the next girl. I was so consumed with those things that it took away from the opportunities that I had to work hard in school, to work hard in basketball, and then maybe even go play college basketball. So for me, that was some opportunities that I look back on my life, I'm like, man, I feel like I wasted some opportunities with that. But what are some ways for you guys? What are some ways that maybe you feel like you waste opportunities? I think one of them is being selfish. So here's the deal. You only think about you. Let's just be real. You only think about you. Some ways that you waste opportunities because you don't ever think about anybody else. Every time that you step out of the house, who are you thinking about? You. When you go to school, you're thinking about what everybody thinks about you. You're always so consumed with you. And I think that takes away from the opportunity that you have to positively make an impact in somebody else's life. Here's the reason why. Because you're always so consumed with you. It's hard to think about somebody else. I think another thing is being foolish. It's just being foolish. Y'all know like the person you guys can get to just do anything? Y'all know that guy? So like whenever I was in high school, like the guy who would get like stupid drunk at a party, and then he was the guy who's like, hey, jump off the roof, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna go jump off the roof. And then he'd go jump off the roof, and then next thing you know, like he broke his leg. Ah! I was like, oh my gosh. Oh man, y'all see this cat? He ended up breaking his leg, man. You know, he was the guy that we could get anybody to do. I mean, we could literally get him to do anything. Maybe for some of you guys, maybe you're that person. You're the person that anybody can get you to do almost anything. But here's the thing, whenever you do that, you waste opportunities as well to make an impact in people's lives. Because what happens is if you're the guy who's always, or you're the girl who pretty much everyone's like, oh yeah, we can get her to do anything. Yeah, we can get him to do anything. You end up losing respect with the people that you're around. Because they don't really respect that. Because you're always just doing whatever they want you to do. I think the next one is this. You just do what everyone else is doing. You smoke what everyone is smoking. You drink what everyone is drinking. You have sex like everyone else is doing. You dress, you act, you talk just like everyone else. And so guess what? You lose the opportunity that you have to stand out from them so that you can have influence with them. Let me say that one more time. When you're doing what everybody else is doing, when you're literally just doing what everyone else is doing, you lose the opportunity that you have to stand out from them so that you can have influence with them. For many of you, maybe that's you right now. The last one's this: do nothing. Just a waste of opportunity. You do nothing. You literally sit in your room and play Fortnite for 36 hours, okay? Maybe for some of you guys, you're like, literally, I would wake up, I would play Fortnite, I'd go get something to eat, maybe use the restroom, and then I was back and playing Fortnite. So for 36 hours straight? Yeah, 36 hours straight. Okay, maybe for some of you guys, I don't know, maybe you consume your life with just stupid stuff. Maybe you're literally on your phone for countless hours. Countless hours. My brother, he sent me this app. I guess there's this app now. He just sent me to me this week that counts or logs like how many hours that you spend on your phone. And I happened to see like the amount of time that he spent on his phone. I was like, bro, are you serious? It's like crazy hours. So maybe for some of you guys, you do nothing. You're just literally on your phone all the time. And so these are some ways I think that we waste opportunities that we have. And Jesus, he shares a story about wasted opportunity. He shares a story about it. And he uses this story to teach the significance of wasting the opportunities that you have. And so if you guys have your Bibles, if you don't, the verses will be on the screen. But we're going to be in Matthew 25. We're going to be in Matthew 25. We're going to be in verses 14 through 30. And let me pick up right here. For it is just like a man. He's talking about the kingdom of God. He's talking about the kingdom of heaven here. And here he goes on to say this. For it is just like a man about to go on a journey. He called his own servants and entrusted his possessions to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2 talents, and to another 1 talent, depending on each one's abilities. Then he went on a journey. Let me stop there really quick. A talent, just so y'all know, we're not just talking about a talent, we're not just talking about an ability. So when he's talking about talent, picture this. This is huge here for you guys to understand the story as well. Is that it's a measure of money. It was an amount, and roughly it was about 60 pounds. It could have been gold, silver, or some type of other currency. So think of that. All right, I have a gold chain. Okay, for y'all, I got a gold chain. It's literally just like a couple ounces or something like that. Can you imagine someone handing you a bag of 60 pounds of gold? That's crazy. We're talking about millions of dollars, especially for the guy who got the 5 talents. So he goes on, and he's giving them a lot of responsibility. He's giving them a ton. To one of the guys, he's given 5. Another one, he's given 2. To another one, he gives 1. Let's pick up in the story. And then in verse 16, immediately, the man who had received 5 talents went. He put them to work, and he earned 5 more. In the same way, the man with 2 earned 2 more. But the man who had received 1 talent went off. He dug a hole in the ground, and he hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. The man who had received 5 talents approached, presented 5 more talents, and said, Master, you've given me 5 talents. See, I've earned 5 more talents. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Share in your master's joy. The man who had 2 talents also approached. He said, Master, you've given me 2 talents. See, I've earned you 2 more talents. And then his master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Share in your master's joy. The man who had received 1 talent also approached and said, Master, I know you. You're a harsh man, reaping where you haven't sown and gathering where you haven't scattered seed. So I was afraid and went off and hid your talent in the ground. See, you have what is yours. His master replied to him, You evil and lazy servant, if you knew that I reap where I haven't sown and gather where I haven't scattered, then you should have deposited my money with the bankers, and I have received my money back with interest when I return. Verse 28. So take the talent from him and give it to the one who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have more than enough. But from the one who does not have, even what he has will be taken away from him. And throw this good-for-nothing servant into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. There's 3 guys in this story. There's really 4, but we're going to focus on 3. And so the 3 guys that he ends up saying, he's like, I'm giving each of them a measure of responsibility. Because the whole thing is, if you can imagine just one bag of being 60 pounds of gold or something like that, I mean, we're dealing with a lot of money. We're dealing with a ton of responsibility that this master who went off on a long journey, he gives to each one of these guys. And now here's the thing. None of them were better than the other. So the guy with the 5, he wasn't better than the guy with the 2 or better than the guy with the 1, okay? They weren't better. It just each one had different abilities. And so the master gave 5 to one of them, 2 to another, and then 1 to the other one. I want you to notice in verse 16, though. This is really cool in verse 16. Immediately, it's actually the ending of 15, but immediately, the man who had received 5 talents, he went, put them to work, and he earned 5 more. Same thing with the guy with 2. So what they did was they went to work. So they were given a measure of something. The master said, here, you got responsibilities. I'm going to give these to you, and I trust them with you. They weren't the money and everything that they had was not their own. It was their master's. He says, here you go, I trust you with these. And I love the fact that the first 2 guys, the guy with the 5 and the guy with the 2, they immediately got to work. And I think that this demonstrates that the 2 had faith. I think it does. I think it demonstrates that these 2 guys, that they had faith because they understood who gave them their talents, and they wanted to do as much as possible with what they had been given to show that their gratitude and their love for their master. So they were demonstrating faith. Man, they loved their master, and so they're like, man, we want to do as much as possible. So immediately when he gave it to them, they got to work. God is entrusting his abilities, is entrusting, I would say, abilities and gifts to everyone with the responsibility they will use them for his glory. You may not even believe in God. You may not even be a Christ follower, but I want you to know that God has given every single one of you in here a measure of talent, ability, and he has given you also a measure of responsibility, and he's watching to see, how are you using it? How are you using it? Because that's exactly what he did with these guys. And I want you to see the fact that the first 2 immediately got to work with their talents and their abilities and the measure of responsibility that they had been given, and they got to work. They didn't waste time. So who in here is like the first 2? Who in here is like the first 2? You know that God has given you a measure of talent and ability, and right now, you know without question that you're making it and you're using those talents that he's given you and that responsibility and those abilities, you're using it to make his name known. Right now you are. Maybe on your cheerleading team. Man, girls know that you're a Christian on your cheerleading team. And maybe when they're having some daddy issues, maybe some of them are coming to you, man, can you pray for me? Maybe for some of y'all on your sports team. I'm not going to go through every single sport. You know whatever you play or you know whatever you're involved in. Do the people know that you're a Christian? Do the people know that you're a Christ follower? Do they know that you're distinct? Are they coming to you and be like, man, I'm kind of struggling. Can you talk to me? Are you the person that like, man, I know that person's going to bring me to church? Man, some of you guys, maybe you have a car and you're like, you know what? I'm going to go pick up some people who would never step foot into a church, and I'm going to bring them. I want them to come experience this. So you're using the talent and ability that you've been given. Maybe for some of you guys, you play on a team and you've never even told them that you're a Christian. Maybe for other you guys, they know. They know flat out. They're like, man, I know that dude's a believer. I know that guy. I know that girl. I know they follow Jesus. And that gives you opportunities to be able to use your talents, your gifts, with the responsibility that God has given you to make an impact in a positive way in these people's lives. So are you like the first 2? Immediately, man, you're getting to work. You already know. You're not second guessing. You're not tiptoeing. You're not like with the line. You're like half in, half out. Like you're going after it. You already know. Because here's why. The master's coming back one day. He's coming back one day. And guess what? Every single one of you and me, you're going to give an account for what you did with what you had. You can't talk about, well, so-and-so had this much. Wait a second. Like, say what? You gave him 5. You only gave me 2, okay? All right, what was I going to do with 2, all right? There's nothing I can do with 2. No. You're going to be accountable when he comes back, when we see him, for what you did with what you had. You know, sometimes I used to tell people like, man, if I was 6'6" and just a little bit more athletic, I'll tell you right now, man, I would be in the league. I'd be in the NBA for sure, man. I'd be in the NBA. But you're not 6'6" and you're not more athletic. So what are you going to do with that, bro? Like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes, and when Duke talked about always measuring up, it only brings you down. You got to do with what you have, what you have been given, the talents and the abilities you have. You can't look at her. Well, she's prettier. Oh, well, she comes from a family, they got more money, so she can do more. No. You got to look at you, and you got to look at what you've been given, and what are you doing with that? Because he's coming back one day, and we're going to be accountable to that. So here's my thing. For some of y'all, you just need to hear this. Would y'all stop waiting and actually get to work? Because remember, the first two, they immediately got to work. And the reason they got to work was because they loved their master. They loved the Lord. What about the guy with the one talent? Look in verse 18. Verse 18 says, but the man who had received one talent, he went off, he dug a hole in the ground, and he hid the master's money. So pretty much this. I think in verse 16 or 17 or something like that, it ends up saying, or verse 19 it might have been, he ends up saying the fact that the master went away for a really long time. So you know what this guy did? He took this money, he went and dug a hole, put it in the ground, and then he went off and lived his life with absolutely no regard for the master. He demonstrated zero faith. He didn't even care. That's what he did. He went and dug it. Whatever, man. I'm going to go party. I'm going to go live my life. Maybe I'll come back to it one day, but not right now. I'm just going to go do whatever I want to do. I'm worried about me right now. I'm not worried about him. I'll figure out something later on whenever he comes back. See, he demonstrated zero faith. He went off and just did whatever it is that he wanted to do. And here's the thing. A failure to serve and to honor the master with the grace that he has given you, it actually indicates a lack of love and desire for the master. When you don't do anything with what God has given you, and you don't have any desire or any love to want to demonstrate the talents and the abilities that you have been given from him, guess what? It actually indicates in your heart a lack of love and desire for him. So maybe there's some of you in here. You would say that you're a Christian. Some of y'all, look up here real quick. Look up here. Some of you would say you're a Christian. And if I was to press you and say, why are you a Christian? You would probably give me some church answer that you might not even believe in. Or you might be like, I don't even really know. I think I'm a Christian. I don't even know. And you know that you're not even using your talents and your abilities with the responsibility that God has given you for his glory, for his name, and to make an impact in the lives of other people. Right now. Can't worry about the future. Can't worry about the past. Right now. You know you're not. And that demonstrates a lack of love and desire for the master. Because some of you guys, you might believe there is a God, but your life and your actions demonstrate that you really don't. See, this man with the one talent, he was actually not a believer. He wasn't a believer. Because remember, everyone's going to be accountable to God. He wasn't a believer. He dug a hole, he put the money in it, and then he went on living with no regard for the master. And Jesus has a really, really strong word for those who don't act in faith and love for him. Look in verse 30. Throw this good-for-nothing servant into outer darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. I don't just want to emphasize that because here's the reason why. Did you know that Jesus also extends his grace towards you? That he already took your punishment so that now you can live for his glory? See, here's the thing. Sometimes we talk about being a Christ follower. If you guys have been around in church or you've given your life to Jesus, you know, we talk about, man, like you're free. Well, here's the thing. You are free, but you're his. So guess what? You don't call shots no more. You don't call the shots in your life anymore. He calls shots. And some of y'all, you're still living like you call all the shots. He calls the shots now because here's the deal. If he paid for you, you're his. Because notice these first two guys, right? Everything that they had been entrusted was not theirs. It was their master's. It was not their master. It was their master's. But I want you to see this too. It's a joy serving Jesus. Y'all hear me on that? Man, I'm telling you, it is such a joy to serve Jesus. It's not a burden. It should never be a burden. People can be a burden, but he's not a burden. I'm telling you, it is such a joy. And here's why I can say that it's a joy. Look in verse 21. This is the guy who had the 5 talents, and then he went off and made 5 more. And this is what it says. His master said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You are faithful over a few things. I'll put you in charge of many things. Share in your master's what? Share in your master's what? Joy. So what is it then? It's a joy to serve him. Man, these first 2, they responded. They were giddy, man. They were so excited to go back and be like, Master, hey, look what I did for you. Look at this. So you don't earn your salvation, but when you're saved, you want to do stuff for the one who bought you. So you're like, man, look at what he gave me. Look at all the talents and the abilities he's given me. Look at the responsibility, man, that he has entrusted me. I'm excited about this. So I can't wait to go and use my life for his name. I want to do this. I want to bring other people to come experience this. Man, this is not something that they're ashamed of. These 2 dudes were not ashamed. They acted in faith and they acted in love, and they were excited to come back and be like, look what I did for you, Master. Look what I did. Jesus, look what I did for you. And he said, share in your master's joy. See, the last guy, man, he just talked about him. Oh, I know you're harsh. I know you're mean. Man, that is not Jesus. And that demonstrated the fact that that guy really had no relationship with him. 2 did something with what they were given, and 1 did nothing. It's not about what you have. Y'all hear me? It is not about what you have. It's what you do with what you have that matters most. Jesus in the story, he doesn't praise talent. He praised faithfulness. Praises. He's not praising, oh, because so-and-so is more talented than the other person. No, he never does that. What he does is he praises the fact that these people were faithful. You feel me? They're faithful. So what are some ways that you can do something of value and importance? Here's the one. Put others first. You know, previously I talked about you only think about yourself. Well, how about this? Maybe you take a step and stop thinking about yourself all the time and actually go do something for somebody else. Stop always worrying about you and your clothes and how you're going to look and how you're going to perceive, because you need to stop worrying about that and you be like, you know what? I need to go and ask somebody else how their day's going. Maybe I need to ask that waiter and that waitress who's working crazy long hours, hey, we're about to pray for our meal. You know, when y'all go out to dinner tonight or whatever it is, and you're going to be like, you know what, how can we pray for you? Just a simple question. That would bless somebody's life. Next one is this. Make God's name known. Maybe for some of you, you need to start a Bible study on your sports team, on your cheer team. Maybe for some of you, you need to see someone when they're going through a turmoil. You need to go over and say, how can I pray for you? And pray for them right then and there. And stop being ashamed. Because y'all know you've encountered. You're thinking of someone right now that you've seen absolutely break down at school, break down on your sports team. And you're like, man, I had an opportunity right then and there to be like, hey, man, hey, or girl, whatever, how y'all girls do it. And be like, hey, can I pray for you? Can I just, and not be like, hey, I'm going to pray for you. Later, I'm going to pray. No, like, be like, can I pray for you right now? And just let them know you're there for them. Make God's name known. Last one's this, is give away to gain. Give away to gain. I need 2 hands for this, so I'm going to put the mic down. So tell me if y'all can hear me. All right. So here's the deal. So I got a few things. Y'all good? Can y'all hear me? Okay. My wife tells me I'm loud, so I didn't know. You know what I mean? I'm Italian, so hey. All right, so check this out. I got a few things up here. So here's the deal. The point is this. Give away to gain. Some of you, you're athletic. Some of y'all, you got sport. Oh, wow. That's a Jeep, by the way. Jen, I took your Jeep. And so some of y'all, maybe you have a car. Maybe some of you guys, you have a car that you could pick up other people, that you could do something for other people, okay? Some of you guys, you play sports. Some of y'all, you play sports. You have athletic ability. You have athletic talent, okay? Some of y'all, you're so worried about your looks. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Come on now. How swag. I look like the bald-headed emoji with the sunglasses. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm saying? Hey, so I'm going to put that right here. All right, another one is this. Your time. What do y'all do with your time? I'm going to pull a couple things. What do you do with your time? Your phone. You're always on your phone. You're always playing some type of video game. You're always just doing something with your car. Is your car. Your sports and all that. And maybe some of you, your academic studies. Maybe you're really smart and you're involved in different clubs and different things. But here's the thing is this. Some of y'all, you have so much time that you're wasting it. Some of y'all got so much time. You're so worried about your sports, your opportunity. It's my time now. I got my chance to be the starting quarterback. I got my chance to be the captain of the cheer team. I got my chance to be like the leader in one of the academic clubs. Now it's my time. Or some of you guys, you spend so much time playing video games. And some of y'all, you just on your phones so much that you're oblivious to the people around you. And you know what happens is this. You hold on to these things so tightly. God, I'm worried about what people think about me, the way I look. God, I don't want to give up an hour of my time to serve the church. You know what I'm saying? I want to play more video games. God, I want to stay up till 3 in the morning doing that. I'm going to stay up till 4 in the morning just Snapchatting people, wasting time. God, I'm so worried about all of my sports, all of my activities, everything that's going on in my life. And you know what you guys end up doing? You do this. You hold on to these things so tightly. And guess what? And you're not being a blessing to someone else's life. But what if you started doing this? But what if you started doing this? Maybe giving up some of these things a little bit. Maybe just give them up a little bit. You know? Guess what? Start using some of the time and the talents and the abilities that God has given you to start impacting the lives of other people. See, here's what's really cool about that. Guess what? What are my hands now that I've given some of those things up? They're what? Green. I got it. Come on. Y'all got to give me back a little bit more now. They're what? Green. For what? So now I can receive. Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? My hands are free now that I can bless other people with. So God can give me more responsibility like he did with the guy with the 5 talents and the 2 talents. They gave away. They went out and blessed other people. So God said, the master of the story says, guess what? That I'm going to give you more responsibility so that you can go out and give more to other people and make an impact in the lives of other people. If you hold on to all of your talents, your abilities, and say, mine, like a little kid, you think God's going to give you more opportunity, more responsibility? No. Why? But if you freely give, he'll freely give to you. And he'll give you more responsibility, and he'll give you more opportunities so that you can make his name known and put others first. Because to give away is to gain. Here's guys, and I'm done. What you do with what you have matters what? Matters much. Let's pray. Father, thank you